As markets continue their relentless sell-off, America calls to close the border for non-essential traffic with Canada as Trump calls for a $350 billion stimulus package as the world looks at a potential $12 trillion margin call. What will the leading digital asset Bitcoin do as it hovers in the midst, holding its value today as the rest of the market tanks? The United States has just recently appointed a Coinbase alumni to a significant government office in charge of banking. We'll break that down as well as look at what the industry seems to be doing looking forward. Thank you guys for joining me for today's episode of Breaking Bitcoin.
Rockwell for NBTV, and this is Breaking Bitcoin.
Welcome back to Breaking Bitcoin, recorded live Wednesday, March 18th, 2020. This is your daily source for everything markets and finance. We are broadcasting live to YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook Live, and back on television. If you have the Investor News Channel app on Roku. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and turn on all notifications, because otherwise you're not going to know when we're live. It's just not going to work. Hit the thumbs up button below. It does help support the show. And after the show, let us know what you guys would like to see in future episodes by leaving a comment down below. Shout out to everybody watching on Twitch and DLive as well. We'll get those lemons flowing here in just a second. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We post exclusive content there every single day that you will not find on our other channels. If you have any questions as we proceed through our analysis, through our fundamentals tonight, make sure to drop it in the live chat. The moderators will bring it to my attention. We do a Q&A section at the end of every show, and I do try to do my best to keep my eye on the live chat as we move around. Today, we're going to be focusing on the technicals and the fundamentals moving forward. We're going to look at some different elements. We're going to talk about systems trading. We're going to talk about we're going to talk mainly, not mainly, we're going to talk mainly about the price of the markets and the continued sell-off. And we're going to talk about Mnuchin, U.S. Treasury Secretary, appointing Brian to the Office of the Comptroller, which is a pretty interesting move from somebody who is a anti-digitizing the dollar advocate versus somebody who is very pro digitizing the dollar. And we'll kind of talk about, again, something that we've covered a lot on this channel that other channels do not cover because they don't care about this stuff, is the big picture moving forward, about the current crisis, the current situation being a potential setup for a CBDC, how the United States is moving inevitably, inexorably closer and closer to launching a digitized dollar, a CBDC, and outlawing cash. This is going to be the reality for everybody who is alive today. You are going to see this happen. And again, being aware of these things so that you are prepared and understanding Bitcoin's role and the role of decentralization in this fight for freedom, liberty, and privacy. So with that being said, we're going to look at a whole lot, guys. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right to the charts. Let me know how you guys are doing. It's a good Wednesday, relaxing day. Let's get going. All right, so here we are in the live scene. Let's start off as we normally do with our cryptocurrency markets. All right, let's get over here. Sorry, so BTC sitting at 53.60 as we are having a little bit of a down movement. Of course, looking over at traditional markets futures, we can see the ES has sold off, really rallied since the close of the New York close today, the close of traditional markets. And the NQ, I would say holding up significantly stronger than the S&P right here. The Dow looking similar to the S&P, listing lazily along. Again, this is very similar to what happened last night. Last night as we moved into the close, ES futures were tanking as the SPY closed positively. And again, this was an obvious indication that we were going to gap down. And of course, a good indication that Bitcoin was going to follow it, setting us up for a pretty decent opportunity to catch this movement right here for an intraday short movement. Again, just kind of utilizing ES futures there. Now, so far, that information isn't clear. As we kind of move closer into the London Open, we'll have some more information about that. Or we'll have a better bead on what the market is likely to do overnight and have a pretty good idea. Again, it's been pretty much spot on, watching where the ES futures are and expecting that the Bitcoin market will follow that. Again, however, today, as we can see, euro having a little bit of a pop to the upside, but mostly selling off again. If we look at the dailies on a lot of these things, things do begin to come clear again. Silver sold off today. Gold sold off today. Brent crude continued to sell off as well. The only things that had a positive close was the NASDAQ and the healthcare sector. A few other spots in there. But again, getting to Bitcoin, we overall had a lazy day early in the morning here on Wednesday. We did have, and pretty much very, very early, like pretty much over the night. We had a pretty good sell-off, pretty good short movement opportunity. What was the actual range of today's kind of movement to the downside? About a 7% opportunity there. So again, probably an opportunity for traders to catch about 3 to 4% of that. Again, utilizing lower time frames or having good systems. But we did close positive on a hanging man candle, and we currently are resting underneath the continuation filter. So let's bring up Bitcoin. Let's look at the bigger picture here. Still underneath the demand level, the monthly demand level from 59.20 to 69.28 that we do need to really reclaim here to have some bullish activity. And again, just as I've pointed out time and time again, the baseline being one of the best indicators out there that you can have on your chart as it dynamically moves down to meet price, currently sitting at 66.47. The stretch to reclaiming the bullish trend gets closer and closer as price consolidates, giving us our good indication of when is a good time to buy back into Bitcoin in a significant way for a trader, or when to take long risk trades when the baseline catches up with price. We will either see continuation of the downtrend, we will see consolidation around the baseline, or we will see a trending movement to the upside. And we can look at things like momentum, volume, and volatility to determine the difference between a false movement and a statistically likely to be a sustained trending movement. As of right now, we are in the midst of chop. This is kind of the lower time frame treat for lower time. This is a good opportunity with this volatility for lower time frame traders. Again, not a necessary area to trade for traders who have a daily or a higher time frame strategy. Individuals are sitting in their hedges, feeling very comfortable, sitting on their heels, not worried about buying the bottom, or at least they should not be, because buying the bottom is a silly concept. We are, of course, as I've talked about, I will never say when Bitcoin's price is 5,000 after we traded at 14,000 within the last 12 months that this is not a good place. This is a historical level of support. But again, when it comes to the realm of trading, I don't trade that way. The reality and the likelihood to retest the lows of 4 and even potentially 3 are still real. As the trend is bearish, we assume the price will continue to move in its bearish mode. So we'll give an update and we'll look for opportunities. Now, I do have a new, now again, this is just something that I'm playing with. But this little indicator right here is called Minx Exits. So I have rewritten the Minx code for version 4 of Pine, and I've added a couple new features. Again, I will be showcasing that probably later next week, and I'll schedule that to be uploaded to TradingView most likely next week as well. What will be uploaded to TradingView this week is an upgrade to the baseline indicator. What I will be adding is the multi-time frame function. So you will have the ability to look at the baseline of any time frame that you like, regardless of what time frame that you are on. This is going to be very helpful for people testing and back testing meso time frame strategies or higher or lower time frame strategies. This is going to be cool for them. Markets are stabilizing, according to the BBC News. We shall see. We shall see. Maybe in the short term. And I hope in the long term, right? It's easier to trade in a bull market. Well, no. Bear markets are pretty easy to trade too, right? Especially if you just have a baseline. So anyways, but this is what's come out of this Minx optimization is I took a few liberties and added a few things. And I've got a pretty neat exit indicator now, right? It's not perfect. It's not an initiator, but it just flashes this little green triangle when it's detecting a potential reversal. We can see that it fires in some interesting areas, right? It has the same drawdowns. Overbought territories are tricky for all momentum oscillators, but here's a buy signal. Here's a sell signal, which is bad, but here's a good sell signal. And again, 2 sell signals up here at the top. So pretty good, pretty cool little indicator that I'm just working on and playing with. But again, you guys didn't come for that. That's my own personal little thing there. But again, if it turns out to be something good and it backtests well, haven't really backtested it, just playing around in Pine. I'll publish that for the members. A lot of stuff that I actually want to get up on TradingView over the next 30 days. So again, baseline optimizations, Minx optimizations, and the big thing, which I've pointed out, is of course, I've written strategy testers, very modular strategy testers, where you can affect everything from confirmation to initiator. So initiator and confirmer you can select, exit conditions you can select, confirmation conditions you can select the baseline, you can select your initiator, multiple time frames. You can do multi-time frame function on your baselines and your initiators for all of these strategies. You have continuation signals in there. This is all coded, position sizing strategies, distance to stop loss, percent of equity. You can adjust all of that. You can adjust your target weights of TP 1, 2, and 3. You can test all in, all out position or entry and exit strategies, 50-50 entry and exit strategies, and 1, 2, 3 entry and exit strategies, all from the strategy tester. Hey, what's going on, Forex Meister? Good to see you. Make sure you moderate yourself over there. Don't get too crazy over there on Twitch, brother. A lot of people hanging out. And we'll publish those. So strategy testers for all of our premium indicators, and then we'll put out the combined strategies with all of the indicators because they tend to get a little slow the more stuff that you add. So working on that to the best of my ability. Anyways. Oh, yeah, something that I forgot to mention. I do want to mention it before we get too far into the video. If you guys are watching on YouTube or anywhere, you guys can go to yt.crackingcryptocurrency.com. We are going to be hosting a trading competition. There is a link in the description to register. All you require is a 0.05 BTC balance, about $250. So really not too expensive right there. We are going to be giving away prizes for the top 5 winners of the competition. It's going to be held on ByBit on the BTC USD perpetual swap contract. There's a leaderboard. This is available to all Cracking Cryptocurrency community members, regardless if they're premium or not. The registration link is in the description. There are 4 days left to register. So a great opportunity for those who are, kind of sitting around, self-quarantine, looking for something to do. Just a fun event for us to come together, have fun, do what we love to do best, which is trade Bitcoin, compete against each other in a friendly competition, right? I don't want to see any trolling. I don't want to see any flaming. And I want people to just have fun, test out new strategies, play around a little bit, get in the group chat and general chat about strategies together. It's just a good opportunity for everybody to come together. And again, there'll be prizes. So if you guys are interested in that, again, the link is in the description down in the YouTube description for both the registration link. It's bybitreg.crackingcryptocurrency.com. And of course, for the leaderboard, which will be updated continually. So we're going to run the competition for 4 weeks. So this is a month-long competition. So plenty of time. Be patient. It's not a rushed 1 week or 3 day thing. Again, open to everybody. So feel free to sign up. There's no cost to sign up. Come join, come trade with us, and we'll chat about it in the Discord. Get it popping in the general chat. And again, link is in the description for the registration. It's open for only 4 days. So get in if you guys want to trade with us. All right. Let's see here. Bitcoin. So we are trading below the continuation filter and the daily baseline. So we are clearly in a bearish trend right here. Bottom feeder is suggesting that we get a pop up to about 6,000 right here. I do have 1% risk on that position. Otherwise, I'm fully hedged. I will be fully hedged until we close above the baseline. This is just very simple standard stuff. If we close above 54.24, I will no longer be looking for at-risk shorts until we close back below the continuation filter, or the only other setup that I will look for in that point in time is going to be the reversal baseline bounce, right? And something that I haven't touched on too much, but something that is worth mentioning is that meso timeframe strategies tend to do well when we are between the continuation filter and the baseline. This is what is pretty evident from my back testing. But overall, for those who are just utilizing daily time frame trades, that pretty much just tells you, hey, we're in between trends right now. I have a good setup for a continuation short if we then close back below the continuation filter, but just overall being patient and waiting for that setup. We've gotten a couple exit indications right now for at-risk shorts. Not only that new Minx exit system that fired the day before the breaking Bitcoin system fired an exit 2 candles ago now. And so overall, not the time, in my opinion, to be in an at-risk short. Again, with us below the baseline, the best thing to look for on lower time frames is, of course, opportunities to short, not opportunities to long. We've covered this. Even looking at the 4-hour time frame, we can see that we do get good setups to go short. We do not get very good setups to go long, right? So again, just depending on what your strategy seems to be, we can see here's a long trade that doesn't go anywhere on the 4-hour. Here's a long trade that doesn't go anywhere on the 4-hour, and we're getting another long trade on the 4-hour. Who knows if this will go anywhere? So not the optimum time frame, in my opinion. We're getting a lot of chop, a lot of consolidation. Now we are consolidating at resistance, which is usually a positive sign to see. Typically, you don't want to buy the breakout. You want to buy the retest. So after we break out, once we pull back and retest, or if you feel confident that we are going to break out to the upside, you want to accumulate on dips, typically. So reversal baseline bounces have been the only profitable 4-hour trade here that's been good. So again, entering here on the reversal baseline bounce to the upside. Other than that, there have been no meso time frame profitable setups on Bitcoin trading to the upside. Just to the downside, So again, pretty boring price action. Now that does not mean that you should get complacent, because it's often when we feel that price is boring that we do get a significant move. As I said, bottom feeder seems to be suggesting that we are going to be getting a movement up to about $6,030, $6,073, I believe it was. Now that the candle is closed, those TPs have updated. Again, I would not recommend any more. You should only be in, let's switch that strategy tester, because we've had... let's see here. We've had one, that's closed. Two, an entry here and an entry here. So averaged entry of roughly 50.97 if you properly took that bottom feeder trade, shooting for that 6,000 price target, 6,030. So you should only be at 2% risk on this. And again, just looking at Minx, the conditions for another bottom feeder signal are probably not going to fire for a while, at least for another couple of days. So if these end up failing, if this signal ends up failing, and I would say if we end up cracking down here below 4,500, 4,800 significantly on daily closing basis, it's unlikely that those will be successful. But again, that's discretion. Bottom feeder strategy is supposed to be run as the bottom feeder strategy is. And for the premium members who attended today's mentoring session, I really enjoyed today's mentoring session. We opened it up to everybody, regardless of subscription status. We talked about our response to the current crisis that is going around the world. Again, our commitment to stand by our members and our community, how we'll be here every single day, continue to do everything that we do, a place that individuals can come and rely on. This is a stressful time. So if this is a stressful time for you guys, I encourage you and invite you, hop in the Discord, chat with us in the general chat. Send us DMs. We're very willing to talk to people. We've got a lot of people on the team. And again, we're going to be fine. We're going to get through this. A lot of people are stressed out. A lot of people are worried. So if you are looking for a community of individuals who are hyper focused on finance, trading, investment, there's not really a better place to be in general chat. And it's just a cool place in general to hang out. So make sure to actually come and and talk with us. We're here for you guys. Okay. Sorry, let's get back to breaking Bitcoin system here. So below the continuation filter, so looking for a close of a 54.24 to essentially tell me don't be looking for any setups that are on the daily time frame until we close above the daily baseline. That will be a joyous thing. If we can get a crack and close above the baseline, above 66.47, it will be a potential signal that we can be looking to go long. And I expect that, I really do expect that to be down around 62.33. So overall, I'm expecting that if we can pop up and consolidate in this original level of demand, that we broke down through, thanks BitMEX, then again, potentially a sign that Bitcoin is going to decouple a little bit from the markets. But overall, I would think it's more likely that if Bitcoin does that, then that's because the traditional markets bottom out to a degree as well. As I said, my original prediction, my original thought, I don't want to say prediction, but my original thought is that once the Federal Reserve slashed interest rates to zero, that we would see a 1 to 3 month market recovery. And then we'll kind of see, the Fed can jack as much money into the system as they want, but there's larger problems here. Again, if you guys, with just a shortage of dollars, right? And this is a global situation now, a global crisis, as people want to pile into the dollar as a safe haven asset. And foreign banks don't really have enough dollars to pay payments or pay interest that needs to be paid in US dollars. Again, the petrodollar is a real thing. There are other systems that are a real thing as well. So this is kind of a worldwide problem. So we'll see. We'll see what the ramifications of this, what the drawbacks are. Short term, we've already talked. We talked about this yesterday. That is a breaking Bitcoin bits that will be going up. Again, our recommendations for how to stay safe, what you should have on hand. I kind of talked about going and making sure that you have some cash on hand because short-term liquidity crunches can be a problem. We're already seeing this today. Again, depending on where you're at, there are places in the United States where banks are severely restricting cash withdrawals. Banks, it's worse in Canada, where Canada has shut down, or banks, have shut down for a degree. Banks are having liquidity crises, and it's worse in places that are not the United States. And that ripple effect will continue regardless of what the markets are doing. So having cash on hand and making sure that you are not kind of sidelined by this. Again, no panic, preparation, and being wide-eyed and opened to just what we're going to be experiencing as short-term interruptions in goods and services. Again, even in my small town, the grocery store is putting restrictions on items. This is going to become the new norm for a while, right? It's going to become the new norm for a while. Well, the Pie Guy asks, wouldn't credit cards eliminate that liquidity problem? Yes. That is exactly what the government would prefer, is everybody using credit cards and not utilizing cash. That we'll be talking kind of later on about, again, something we've been very frank about is the fact that all governments, it's in all governments' best interest as centralized command and control systems to outlaw cash and move everything digital, right? Preferably from a centralized private blockchain where they have full command and control and view and total access to all of your financial transactions. Essentially, the abolition of financial privacy. This is a pretty big concern. You're right. Yes, credit cards do remove that restriction to a degree because credit will continue to flow, right? It's digital credit, but physical credit. So the ability for financial privacy in something that is technically hard money right now, which is cash, right? It's not real sound hard money, but it's hard currency, right? It's not a digital payment. It's something that's within your control. If you have $1, somebody has to hit you over the head with a rock and take your dollar from you or manipulate you out of your dollar. But with digital money, I mean, your account can just be shut down, shuttered, seized. People have to physically take your cash from you. So that's a concern, right? That's a concern. So credit cards eliminate liquidity problems for the individual on the consumer level. But again, getting hard currency, getting hard cash in your hand will be difficult for some people in some places. Yeah, we are having an issue with Restream. So let me get YouTube pulled open so I can see the YouTube comments because I cannot currently see them. Where are they? There they are. Oops. No. The whole enchilada. Okay. All right, cool. So let's see here. So we talked about Bitcoin on the daily. We have waning delta. Honestly, there's no setups on the daily time frame. We have waning delta divergence. We've continued to see this as negative volume delta continues to fall off from Wadatar explosion. Minx continues trading in static, which is typically a no trade zone. We got the take profit short from Minx just a few days ago, indicating that at-risk shorts should be exited. So Bitcoin is overall largely in a no trade zone. And on lower time frames, the setups to look for are going to be to the downside until we cross and close above that daily baseline. The directional bias still remains bearish. The only exception to this is a small removal of a portion of your hedge at 1% risk. And to be quite honest, with the distance to the stop loss, that's going to be a relatively small, very, very small position size relative to total capital, right? because we're talking about, I believe it's a 30% distance to the stop loss. So putting 1% of your account at risk for a movement like that, you might be talking about removing 2 to 3% of your hedge, right? So yeah, besides that, and again, that would indicate that potentially in the short term, price does find its way up to 6,000. If that does happen, as I said, I think that is likely to be buoyed on the backs of the equities markets as well. And we will watch the futures markets going into the night to kind of see what we expect on them right now. Having a pretty sharp retracement right now, and we'll see if that continues to get follow through. This is exactly, as I said, what we saw last night. When I saw the circuit breaker strip last night, I knew that we were going to see a down movement in Bitcoin. All right, so critical levels to break currently on the daily, 66.47. If we look at Quadriga ATR, just at where we are, looking at downside daily trending targets, which we don't have an entry signal right now, but for those looking for those, downside targets are currently 46.29, 39.19, and 32.09. That is the range of profit taking to the downside. Let's look at Ethereum. Again, the markets are moving in tandem. Critical levels for Ethereum to break on the daily. Ethereum's got more work to do. Ethereum has to get above 171.84. Closing above 119.63, again, putting us in that same no trade zone. No continuation. Waning volume delta from Wadatar explosion. Minx trading into static, which is a no trade zone. Parallax still bearish, but pointing to the upside, right? So again, the proper strategy here on the daily time frame is to look for continuation shorts or short signals on the daily time frame, to look for reversal baseline bounces, and to be a little wary of movements to the upside until we close above that daily baseline. And for Ethereum, Ethereum's got more work to do than Bitcoin at this point in time. XRP, trading below the continuation filter and the daily baseline. XRP's got less work to do than Bitcoin and Ethereum at this point in time. XRP needs to get above 1764, so let's call it 1750, 17 cents and 17 and a half cents. Getting above 15 cents is going to put us in a no trade zone until we do that. So the only setup to look between the continuation filter and the baseline is going to be a reversal baseline bounce. So potentially looking for a short reentry at 1763 unless we cross and close above it. Multiple exit signals now coming in on XRP, waning volume delta divergence, Minx trading in static, Parallax being bearish. So the setup to look for here is continuation shorts, or again, waiting and being very patient until we actually get that bullish confirmation. Yeah, Corona. Oh, I almost said it. The Cerveza cough, right? The Cerveza virus. Which we will now lovingly refer to this. EOS. EOS still trading under $2 at $1.99.6, struggling valiantly to get above that $2 and getting above $2 and 5/100ths of a dollar. So 2.05 would be putting us above that. We would be looking for still a close above $2.43 to maintain or reclaim the bullish bias right here. So again, waning volume delta divergence from Wadatar, Minx moving into static, Parallax bearish. These are all signs that we should be looking for continuation shorts and essentially be flat and hedged on EOS USD. Litecoin as well, getting a bit of a sell-off from the continuation filter. Trading at 34.29, needs to close above 42.63 to reclaim the bullish bias on Litecoin. Waning volume delta from Wadatar, Minx trading in static, Parallax bearish. Signs that one should, and we got the take profit short signal over here. So signs to be flat and signs to wait and look for this re-entry signal and maintain Litecoin equity hedged. And of course, BNB is the only one. Altcoins putting in a little bit more positive momentum. BNB has closed above the continuation filter, or appears to want to be closing above the continuation filter on today's daily close. So there's really not a whole lot to do here with BNB until we're back above 1382. Again, this is not the bottom buying channel, and Cardano having a move up to the upside at 495. So again, let me know what you guys would like to see in the form of chart requests. I'd be happy to look at them. Let's go and look at what we saw in traditionals today. Again, the major indices, SPY having a down day. This was very evident from the way that the futures markets was moving last night. The ES continuous contract in front futures tripped the circuit breaker and halted trading until the New York Open, which resulted in a massive gap to the downside again. And again, we'll have a very clear indication of what the market is likely to do just by looking at the futures market. So Pro tip, make sure you guys are looking at ES. Gives you a pretty good indication of what to expect from the traditional markets the next day. But again, the SPY trading at 235.69. SPY's got a lot of work to do, right? So let's just be very clear. Let's look at the baseline. Price needs to get above 286.11 to reclaim the bullish bias. So we've got a lot of work to do on the SPY. Let's put on... Yeah, nothing really significant here. What's interesting is look at the little bit of chop from traditional minks. And as we can see here, my minks exits has not given any such take profit short signal. So pretty smooth, holding on to this, moving to the downside, looking for redundant signals, which is exactly what I programmed it to do. So no exit signal on the SPY, nothing to do here. We've talked about SH, SDS, and SPXU, signals to hold those open. And again, we can just simply flip this. So let's look at SH. Let's look at SH. Let's keep things simple and look at the baseline. Interestingly enough, if we look at the SH, Minx exits is for the very first time signaled for an exit on today's candle. And as you can see, this is the kind of the smoother indicator that I created. Here's the buy signal and the sell signal on, this is the inverse of the SPY. So although we're not getting an exit indication on the SPY itself, the inverse ETF SH is signaling for an exit, right? And again, a great trade. So we shall see here. We'll see if we do get a little bit of a pullback. If we get a up day in traditional markets tomorrow, you heard it here first. You heard it here first. And we will publish that indicator. Other than that, I think the only thing that I see is we'll see if we do end up topping out here. That will be triple bearish divergence. We got our first bearish divergence here. Second bearish divergence is potentially forming right now. We can see the exact same thing on Parallax right here. Again, overall, fairly inconclusive at this point in time. The only thing that would be signaling for an exit would be that. At this point in time, we really need to close below 28.86. It's been a heck of a ride for SPY trades to the upside, guys. It's been a heck of a trade SH trades to the upside, and SDS more so. So my, not my entire equity account, but a good portion, not equity account, but my traditional account, my blue chip stock portfolio is covered with an SH short. I have SD, so not all of it. A good majority is also an SDS. SDS, I already took 50% of my trade about a week ago. I'm letting the other 50% run, and I have not exited that yet. I'll exit on full confirmation. And I have been taking some shorter term trades with XPXU. I've taken about 3 trades with SPXU over the last 2 weeks. It's actually been fun. Not one that I really looked at until I came across it, and it's a good market to trade. Again, it's the same thing. SH is inverse with no leverage. SDS is inverse with 2x leverage. SPXU is inverse with 3x leverage, right? So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that one pretty closely. The Qs did have a positive close today. The NASDAQ, 176.60. Let's take a look at what that means more fundamentally here. And similar, here we go. Here's that Minx exit signal, signaling for an exit on the Qs on today's daily close. Let's see here, waning, not really waning, but with the gaps to the downside, Wadatar has just been crazy, continued rising explosion level. We did get our first falling explosion level on today's candle. So interesting in conjunction with that Minx exit. Full confirmation for the exit will come if price closes above 184.73. Excuse me. But either way, very good inverse QQQ shorts. And not a lot of positive movement. Or again, confirmation to exit shorts will be at 184.73. If we close above 184.73 on a daily time frame basis, will be a signal to exit. The Qs need to get above 203.09 before we're long on the NASDAQ again. And looking at the Dow ETF, IYY, same thing, gapping down, very similar to the SPY. No such exit indication on the Dow. Let's see here. Yeah, nothing really here in the form of anything. Again, the only thing that is interesting looking at the technicals is the potential exit signal on the SH, the inverse ETF, and on the NASDAQ. Again, the only thing having a positive close today, looking at our major indices. 124.93 is going to be the invalidation level for current, if you're looking at the iShares Dow as an instrument to either hedge traditional markets or take inverse ETF trades. Then closing above 124.93 is going to be your invalidation level. As far as going long on the Dow, the ETF here needs to close above 141.44 before we'd be looking for such setups. In healthcare, having a positive day, closing at 83.97. Gold continued to fall a day. Let's take a look at gold and see what we can see. This is gold spot CFD on Awanda. All right, no such exit signal. Paralock still bearish. A little bit of waning volume delta from Wadatar. Overall, a smaller. Oh, excuse me. Looking at the current candle. I don't know why I'm doing that. Looking at the way that the daily closed. Again, pretty significant sell down into not cracking new lows though. Invalidation level currently on gold spots 1544. 428. I'll maintain a bearish bias until we close above that. Gold's got some work to do. I would expect to see some consolidation out of gold unless we see a massive reversal here on gold, but we really need currently to get above 1622, and I would be wary of that. If we march all the way back up there, I would be looking for a reshort on gold reversal baseline bounce setup. Other than that, no real setup on gold. We talked about the potential short here, but how it looked too overextended would have been a good trade, one that I personally would have missed. The one that was not missed was silver. Silver gave a beautiful continuation short signal. On this candle right here, continuation short signal on this candle right here, closing below the continuation filter here, and a nice sell-off to the downside right here. No such exit signal, no exit indication. Minx will need to close back above zero. We need to close above $13.38 to be signaling for the to be signaling for the reversal currently right now. Nothing to do really on silver except for just hold 50% of your position open with a trailing stop and let that baby run. All right, looking at the E-mini futures as they are progressing. Again, 15-minute delay because I don't feel like paying for the CME data nor the SIBO data. Nothing to do there. Sell in the news. S&P 500 E-mini futures, the ES continuous contract in front has retraced about 50% and more as we continue to move to the downside here on yesterday's. We had a. Let's just walk back the last 2 days of the SPY, right? We had a positive close, but overall the narrative has been moving to the upside, maybe a green candle, massive gap to the downside, Darth Maul candle, gap to the downside, positive candle, gap down, Darth Maul candle, gap, and so on and so forth, right? And it's looking like we will be looking at another, not so far so yet. We will have a gap to the downside, it seems, if price continues to fall or even consolidate at these levels. Again, 24.59 being our current high and 22.62 being our current low. NASDAQ continuing to sell off as well. I would expect to see the NASDAQ have a significant gap to the downside. The Dow going to be having a significant gap to the downside as well. The Russell also. VIX sitting at 76.45, still extremely high. VIX probably one of the best markets to potentially trade right now. Very stable. Euro dollar continues to fall. Gold spot, again, consolidating. Bearish bias maintains on gold. Bearish bias maintains on silver. Silver here on the lower time frame seems like it wants to make a try for making new lows as we have formed a newer lower low on the 15-minute here. And gold is currently just driving down into support. I do not like that. Multiple taps of support. The more times you test it, the weaker it gets. So overall, looking fairly weak to me. All right, let's take a look at the chat, and then we're going to segue into what I want to talk about today. MT Coiner, good to see you, my brother. What am I doing at this time? Well, I mean, with schools closing, it's been a little onerous on my staff. Children are at home. It's been a little onerous with just the way things are right now to do the show at noon. So it's just easier on everybody if we wait till the kids go to bed and we do it late at night. All right. Wicked webs, guys. All right, so we're going to go into today's crypto currently segment. Good to see you, Valerian. Yeah, let's look at Forex. Let's talk about our Forex trades. I'll just go over my open positions in the market. Pound dollar has been one of the, listen, I try to stay a very humble person, but introducing Forex has been one of the great pleasures, one of the best introductions we made to the premium group so far, having full support for the Awanda platform. We will go and look at the original short signal for the pound dollar, which was right here on this candle. The 11th of March is where we entered our initial position. Let me just check, make sure we didn't enter on the 12th. Let's check my trade log. The 11th, yep. The 11th, 30 minutes before the daily close. And this has been, again, a fantastic trade as the pound dollar continues to fall off the map, So currently looking at the pound dollar, we've got invalidation above 121.223, but I have a trailing stop loss on. It's fairly close to price. It is relatively close to price. Basically on this wick to the downside that we saw here. So I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have to actually look at Awanda here real quick. Nope, still open. Yeah, 16,767 where my trailing stop loss is, 16,767. So pound dollar, no exit signal, deeply oversold. But again, you let those trends ride, baby. Euro Swissy is the only trade where I'm in that I'm caught in some chop. Long the US, the dollar yuan, entered the trade here on the third subsequent entry candle. No. We entered it here. Excuse me. We entered it over here. Had a little bit of drawdown, but the dollar yuan finally moving in our favor. The pound CAD we are short on, getting a very good trade signal right here. Held it for a little bit of drawdown. Overall this thing's gone right in our favor. So again, the pound CAD's been a good trade. Took the continuation long right here from Minx, the Minx system. On the Euro Kiwi, had a boring day and now nice and off to the races, moving in good profits for us. Ethereum Bitcoin, I had tried a continuation short on this candle, getting the take profit signal on the very next candle though. So I went and exited that position at I think it was negative. Negative 0.41% loss. So that's actually not an active trade anymore. And the pound Aussie, long on the pound Aussie, finally moving nicely in our favor today. So good volatile movements. Do I use my baseline in the same way on Forex? Yep, no changes that I make. And I do not adjust any metrics for Wadatar explosion. Forex Meister is saying... you mean the CAD? You said can. Just wondering if there's some currency I'm not aware of. The can Swissy, or the can Swissy. Continuation short on yesterday's candle, on today's daily close. So that would be pointing us down to all right, let me turn off the 8 decimals here. Not 0.65234, not 0.64163, not 0.63092. Invalidation or hard stop at 0.67915. Don't know if some new parrot currency. Yeah, man. We buy the dip. It's a stop loss hunt, bro. That looks like shite, man. Nice continuation short signal from Minx. Parallax bearish. Rising explosion level from Wadatar explosion. It's huge. Go get him, baby. He probably meant food. I need food help. Can I buy cans of food against the Swissy? Come on, man. So let me trade these Swiss francs in for some food. It's all I want. They're not doing anything for me right now. Well, I'm not going to sit there and wait. So anyways, there's a lot I want to cover today. So let's get into today's cryptocurrency segment. We're going to take maybe a 30-second break, and then we're going to launch into cryptocurrency. Don't go anywhere, guys. If you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to leave a thumbs up below today's video. Subscribe to the channel. And if you want to be notified when we go live every single day or when we do post new content, which we do multiple times a day, make sure to turn on all notifications. Otherwise, YouTube they're just not going to tell you. If you subscribe to the channel and you do not turn on notifications, they're not going to let you know. So you do have to click the bell icon and select all notifications. And let us know what you guys want to see in tomorrow's show. Leave a comment down below. Hop in the Discord, have a chat with us. We'd love to help you out. And of course, make sure if you guys want to come trade with us, register for your chance to win BTC Prize Pool. We are doing a trading competition on the BTC USD perpetual contract. Link is in the description down below. 4 days left for registration for that. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. That button used to work. All right, so our first story that we're going to be covering today is on Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin appointing Brian Brooks to oversee the banking system in some degree. So let's talk about what this means. The U.S. Treasury Secretary is Steve Mnuchin, and he is a longtime cryptocurrency skeptic, as we've covered multiple times on this channel. You may remember him, us covering him, describing Bitcoin as, that old Swiss secret number bank account, right? Just last month when we reported on his appearance in front of the U.S. Senate. Now, interestingly enough, though, it just was announced today that Mnuchin has now appointed an executive from the world of crypto to be one of the country's top banking regulators. It's one of the top positions of regulatory authority in the country. And that's Brian Brooks. And he has served as Coinbase's chief legal officer since mid-2018. And he has just been tapped for the next chief operating officer and first deputy comptroller of the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC. Now, that's a mouthful, and you can be forgiven if you've never heard of the OCC. This is a lesser-known financial regulatory body. It was established all the way back in 1863, and it is the primary overseer of banks and federal savings associations in the United States. It issues rules, it issues regulations. Here's the announcement from the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. It issues rules and regulations that govern banks. It plays a supervisory role to banks, and it ensures that they do not engage in risky activities, except, of course, for destabilizing our entire economy with the mass printing of money. Now, the appointment of Brooks to oversee the nation's banking system is pretty surprising, honestly, given the Treasury Secretary's stern anti-crypto stance. And again, the comments that he made just last year insisting that the United States does not need to adopt a digital greenback. And what's interesting about that is that Brooks, on the other hand, is an outspoken advocate of making the United States a leader in digital currencies. He's known for proposing that the role out of the U.S. He's known for proposing the role that the United States should play in leading the world in digitizing dollars. Is essential. Back in November 2019. Back in November of 2019, Brooks wrote this piece published in Fortune magazine, and it's titled "A Digital Dollar for a Strong United States Financial System." And in this op-ed piece, he describes a blockchain-powered United States dollar as absolutely inevitable and how it is an issue that will enjoy bipartisan support, saying in part that the time has essentially come for a tokenized dollar, and it's not just individuals who are enthusiastic about it who are in the cryptocurrency space. We're not the only ones who think so. He points out that even senior U.S. officials are floating the idea and are entertaining the idea of creating dollars on a blockchain. With this kind of weight, this kind of momentum behind the support, the idea is inevitable. Now, again, one might think that this is a very positive thing, right? We have somebody moving from Coinbase to the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. He's very pro. Should be very pro cryptocurrency. But the question we have to ask is, if the United States moves to a digital blockchain system, it's certainly not going to be decentralized, right? So the question we have to ask is, who gets to control the blockchain, right? Now, Mnuchin, writing in the OCC's official announcement of Brooks' appointment, described the move as necessary to ensure the stability of our financial system and its ability to foster greater economic growth for the benefit of all Americans, right? Now, why such the sudden shift? Why the sudden shift from we don't need to digitize the dollar and crypto, Bitcoin is a Swiss number bank account. We'll never do anything with that. Well, certainly his stance on Bitcoin hasn't changed. So why would they be pushing? Why would they be appointing somebody who is, we would think, Bitcoin friendly to the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency? Now, Brian Brooks is no dummy. He's a Harvard graduate. He got his law degree from the University of Chicago. He's described as a strong leader with extensive experience in the financial services sector. He comes from the world of finance, and he's going to assume this new role April 1st, 2020. And besides serving as the chief legal officer for the United States' largest crypto exchange, he has also been the executive VP over at Fannie Mae, as well as the general counsel and corporate secretary over the years for the same institution. Again, this guy does not come from the world of cryptocurrency. He comes from the world of finance, right? Now, the former comptroller, Joseph Otting, he was nominated by President Trump back in 2017. Now, he gave a glowing review of Brooks being appointed to this position, saying that he was bringing an extensive career of legal banking and financial innovation expertise to the agency. Saying that he's a visionary, he's a thinker with a passion for service and a deep understanding of how the industry works, of how the financial industry works. Now, again, I would love to believe that this is a good thing. And indeed, Brooks is widely considered to be a visionary, not only advocating for the digitization of the United States dollar, but also suggesting that suggesting that private corporations are better suited to build such a system and not government institutions. Well, that's just practical sense. Free market economies build better things than government bureaucrats. So from what we seem to understand here, Brooks has envisioned a system in which The public sector still sets the monetary policy, but the actual technology infrastructure would be built and managed by the private space. And that would be absolutely fantastic to see. That's the best case scenario, right? But I just have to lay out my reservations about this, right? I want to lay out my reservations about this. Is that even if the intentions of Mr. Brooks are good, this is an individual that comes from the world of finance. And again, sometimes it's difficult to get those ideas and thoughts of finance out. And we have to understand. So let's be frank about a few things here. The first thing is that CBDCs are going to happen. I completely agree with Brian when he says that it is absolutely inevitable that we tokenize the dollar, that we move to a digital dollar system. Right? We've been talking about the reality of CBDCs for a long time on this channel. It is inevitable, and we have to understand that this is what centralized governments want. It removes all of the barriers. It has the potential to remove barriers between government control of the monetary system. Currently, as bad as our system is, there still stands private banks and the free market to a large degree that acts as a buffer between the government, the central bank, and the economy. But with a CBDC running on a blockchain, so not only will they have a better infrastructure for a command and control, top-down control of the economy, which is, of course, what every centralized bureaucratic government wants. Otherwise, why would China adopt a digital yuan, right? Why would they do that? Because they want the command and control top-down view. The worst thing about this is for anonymity and privacy and ultimately liberty. Because money is free speech, the ability to fund the campaign that you want to fund, to buy what you want to buy, to send your money to who you want to send it to. This is the liberation and freedom that Bitcoin offers, and that open and non-restrictive monetary systems or currencies allow you, right? Let's compare what a digital yuan will look like. That is the same level of power that would be entrusted to the United States government. Now, can we trust the United States government more than we can trust the Chinese government? Absolutely. They're nicer to their citizens, right? They allow us more freedoms and liberties, right? But the danger here is in every transaction being recorded in a central database. It is a command and control version of the economy. It makes it increasingly harder to exercise your free speech, to privatize your spending habits. This destroys a lot of financial privacy. It dissolves anonymity, and cash will be outlawed as a result, which currently is the most liquid hard currency that you can get. Physical cash, you can conduct your transactions, and they're private and anonymous, right? And the only alternative that people will be left with is decentralized systems like Bitcoin. Decentralized systems like Bitcoin. So, but let's be positive about this, right? Let's be positive about this. Again, Brooks has a pretty illustrious career. He's worked at Coinbase. I want to believe and hope that he does have the good intentions here, that he does want to build a good system where private corporations are much more in charge of how this thing is built. And is basically the system is handed to the government. Hopefully they need a lot of IT work, and the IT workers that come in are Bitcoin pros. This is typically how it works with big command and control operations. They don't know how to, make the printer operate, and then the IT guy comes in, and then, you get office space. So let's hope for the best and expect for the worst. So what we are going to be seeing in our lifetimes, we've covered this a bunch of times. Cash is going to be outlawed in our lifetimes. CBDCs are going to become a reality. And we begin to look at current situations right now. I don't think this is going to happen now. It's possible that it'll be the next financial crisis that occurs. It just depends on how bad this one gets. But if this situation gets much worse, and people start calling, right? Or people won't call for it. That's not how it's going to happen, right? But the government response to this current financial crisis will be the blame will be laid at the feet of our current monetary structure, right? Cash will be blamed, liquidity will be blamed. They'll say, well, all these U.S. dollar printing presses. We're some of these were distributed around the world, and we're missing all of these dollars. There's a $12 trillion margin call. There's trillions of dollars, physical banknotes that are missing. They're being hoarded in vaults. And this is causing a liquidity crisis around the world because there is more outstanding debt than notes in circulation. And we don't know where all the notes are. So this blame will be laid at the feet of the current cash structure, right? And if the government wants to introduce a CBDC and institute a ban on cash, they would be best suited to take advantage of a situation like this. Look what was instituted on the back of 9/11, the Patriot Act, domestic surveillance, and that's just cracking the surface of the iceberg, right? And again, something that also is, I guess, a potential is, if goods and services are distributed by the government, requiring that individuals register and buy goods and services with the new CBDC, and basically registering for the new system. If we do something like the Yang Buck, or if we do something like this $1,000 distribution to everybody, again, I think it's far too early for it to be happening right now. This thing isn't even built yet. But if they wanted an excuse to outlaw cash, and if they wanted an excuse to introduce a CBDC under the auspices of, well, listen, what we just went through, guys, was really terrible, and we never want to go through that again. And the reason why we went through this is because we have a broken system, and it's the cash-based system that we currently have. So we just need to get rid of that, and we'll institute this new digital system. We'll never have this problem again. We'll never have a liquidity or crunch crisis again. You'll never have problems getting your money out of the bank, because you'll never need to get money out of the bank. You'll just use your fingerprint, thumbprint, your digital system, and we'll command and control everything from our centralized office and location. And we'll increase the monetary supply as we need to. We'll reduce it as we need to. It'll be, it'll be fine. It'll be great. So things to be wide-eyed about as we continue to move forward, because that is certainly not the future that I would like to live in, and sets up the narrative for Bitcoin as the only alternative. So again, Bitcoin is the people's money, and regardless of where the price is, you would be well suited to hold some Bitcoin, because it's going to be a valuable transactional asset moving forward if you would like to maintain a modicum of privacy with your transactions and control over what you do. And if you'd like to have non-seizable funds, right? This goes back to what I talked about with that earlier question. Somebody said, well, won't credit cards, I think it was Valerian, said, won't credit cards, ease this kind of liquidity crisis? Sure, right. But, the more we do that, the more we move into a world where, your credit card account can just be turned off, right? So let me know what you guys think. It's a lot. It's chunky. Let me know in the comment section down below, or hop in the Discord. We can have a chat about this later on. Let's move into the question and answer segment and see what you guys have on your mind. All right, the first thing I want to do is get this chest going tonight. Excuse me. All right, so pretty slim. The Great White Shark asks, the price of the oil options are dirt low. What are my thoughts? To be honest, I've never traded options on oil. Looking at oil, though, it just kind of depends on what kind of swing we want to take. Let's take a look. Obviously, Brent crude dipping very low. The price of calls, obviously the risk to reward ratio is there on the price of calls. I assume puts are going to be, if puts are pretty cheap, that's going to be your best bet, trading the direction of the trading the direction. Again, there's all kinds of different option strategies that you can employ. So that's not my specialty. I've traded options before, saddles and condors, and I'm familiar with all of that. It's not really the current strategy that I'd employ. And looking at Brent crude, I'm just a directional trader, so I feel like I would make far more money just directionally trading this. But if they're dirt cheap, Wall Street Bets would tell you to just degen call, degen call this all day long. Probably the better strategy would be to sell naked puts. Honestly, if you wanted to be a degen. But if you didn't want to be a degen and you wanted to take, rational things, the risk to reward ratio is probably in buying the calls. Bob Smith asks if I can go over silver. I did go over silver. Let's touch on it just a little bit more. Again, silver right now should be so silver signaled for a continuation short here and here on these 2 daily candles. We've been having some great follow through ever since then, taking about 50% profit right around here and currently just running with a trailing stop loss. You should have a trailing stop loss on silver. It should be no higher than 13.29 is where I would have my trailing stop loss roughly right now. If I was setting it today, I would be setting it 13.29, 13.28. And I would be looking for Minx to go back above the zero line. I would be looking for price to close above the continuation filter. Those would be my exit indications. And lately, be watching for that little green triangle to appear under price. But no such signal as we currently see it. So I could see a pop back up to the continuation filter at 13.38. But until we close, we've got some work to do on silver, man. Until we're back above $16. Listen, just as with Bitcoin, it's at $16 now. By the time price eventually flattens out, we'll probably be looking at right about $13, $14 we need to get above to be signaling for trending longs again. Nothing currently so far. And Forex Meister, I did cover the CAD Swissy for you. So thank you so much for that question, my friend. A big winners on the lemon distribution today is Robin from the Hood, Mr. Ether, Ricky T, the Pie Guy, and Valerian 2114, my friend. Thank you so much for your guys' continued support. Chainlink. Without even looking at the chart, my thought is, see you later, nerds. All right. We're going to have to get that off of our system. Chainlink USDT signaled for an exit from short trades. TPS signal over here on the 16th. But again, if you needed a signal to exit your shorts, yeah, the profit motive is gone, right? We are going to be potentially getting one from the Minx exit system as well today. Got one from the BB system yesterday. I don't really see any sort of setup. Chainlink needs to get above $3.35 to be looking for at-risk longs. I did see a question here earlier from Valerian, I believe, and I did want to cover that. And his question was, I want to make sure that I get it right, so let me scroll up here. What do I reckon the best platform to trade stocks on with low capital? Because I want to start on Forex. Well, just to be very clear here, stocks are not Forex. Forex is short for foreign currency exchange. So Forex is literally trading different national currencies against one another. So the dollar against the Canadian dollar, the Japanese yen against the Swiss franc, the Australian dollar, the Kiwi, the NZD, the New Zealand dollar, the NZD, the Kiwi against the Australian dollar, the AUD. So quite different markets. For Forex, if you're in America, I'm going to recommend Awanda, or I would recommend Awanda over FXCM. I've used FXCM. There's nothing wrong with it. I just prefer Awanda. IG has an American operation right now, and IG is a very good international broker. Not over there yet. I do prefer Awanda. I've traded on there for a long time. It's where I used to trade. It's where I currently trade right now. And it's a very easy, good platform to use. If you're looking for stock or ETF trading, I'm going to recommend for low capital for convenience, Webull. They got a web app that you can use online. They have a mobile app that you can download on your phone. You can get 2 free stocks signing up there. One just for signing up with no deposit, and then another free stock for making any deposit. Second stock's worth up to $1,400. There is a link in the description to take advantage of that. And so, yeah, it's pretty simple. You can margin trade on there with up to 4x leverage if you have a $2,000 capital balance. The other broker that I recommend is Charles Schwab. That's my other broker. Charles Schwab is, again, very similar. Basically, no minimum deposits. That's not something that you need to worry about. You can throw $100 on there. You can throw $1,000 on there. Awanda, you can deposit I think their minimum deposit is maybe Awanda might have $100 minimum deposit. I'll have to check. But the nice thing about Charles Schwab and Awanda is that you can demo trade. So you don't have to deposit any money. You can just trade a demo account, which is what you want to do starting out. Yep. So if you want stocks, I'd recommend Webull or Charles Schwab. And again, doesn't cost you anything to register for both. Play around with them for a little bit, demo a little bit. Trade with some small capital. See which interface and what platform you like. Well, if you're in Australia and you want to trade, well, then that's different. So for Australia, you don't want to actually trade stocks. You want to trade CFDs. So for you, I'm actually going to recommend Blueberry Markets, right? I believe they're based in Australia as well. And it's a fantastic broker. You can trade Forex on there. You can trade CFDs. So you'll basically be able to get access to anything that you want to trade on Blueberry Markets. So you won't actually trade stocks. You'll trade contracts for difference. So since you're not in America, that's what makes the most sense for you. Absolutely. Blueberry Markets. Or IG. IG you can trade. I believe if you're in Australia, you'll have to double check with your nationality. And Awanda is international as well. So Awanda is a good broker. It's the one I use. But Blueberry Markets is very good as well. I believe located there in Australia. And then IG, which is IG International. So. Yeah, Rob G, is this the new time slot moving forward? Yeah, we're certainly going to try it out. And, it's better for the staff. It's better for our team to do this time slot. It's easier. It's easier for us. The podcast says, schwiggity schwab. Yeah, so I'm not actually sure if, I'm pretty sure as an Australian, I mean, you can certainly get Charles Schwab, but yeah, if you're in Australia, don't worry about, forget Webull, forget Charles Schwab. That's for Americans, ideally. Go ahead, Blueberry, get a good broker, right? Blueberry Markets, Awanda, IG, because you'll be trading CFDs, not underlying stocks, and that's so much better for you. You'll have access to margin, everything that you want, and you can demo trade. So they've got great demo trading platforms. Tapai Guy says, Awanda desktop versus web platform. I use the web platform. It's easier. I've never really liked, downloadable apps to trade. I'm going to be honest with you, because I don't trade like that. I get everything that I want from TradingView. I work in TradingView. I program in TradingView. I write my indicators in TradingView. TradingView is a great platform. It's simple. It's intuitive. It's easy to use. And I've pretty much found that any app that I download currently, it's just convoluted. I don't like it, right? I'm not a big fan of it, right? I get the convenience. You got your trades and you got broker integration and all that stuff. And people like MetaTrader 4 and, people like NinjaTrader and all that stuff. I hate those things. I've been doing this for a long time and I hate those things. They're just so clunky. They are just dinosaurs, man. Zuhair Nakvi, thank you so much, my friend. Let me get over here so I can see. Thank you so much for the $10, my friend. The 10 Aussie, I do believe. Holding it strong in the Aussie land. He says the Dixie is rallying, but Bitcoin is holding 5,300, despite the fundamentally inverse relationship. Do I see this as a hidden increase in value, despite a lack of price pumps per se? So, what I can glean looking at Bitcoin from the technicals is that, despite the overall volatility of the market, Bitcoin seems to be holding its value quite well. There can be, look at tonight. I think that today a lot of individuals are overall panicked. We saw that if gold, silver continued to sell off today. It does begin to feel like we're starting to get a little bit exhausted and like some sort of rally is going to make sense, right? Most of the market is starting to get biased to the short side. Most of the market is starting to just believe that the downtrend will just continue. And this is in traditionals and this is in Bitcoin as well. Really seeing sentiment start to turn and bullishness is not rare. So again, I think that a rally in traditional markets and I think that a rally in Bitcoin makes sense here, at least up to 6K. I do think that will be sold into. It really depends. I think that equities will have potentially, if equities do have a 1 to 3 month rally here, maybe a slow grind to the upside, or probably honestly what happens in very bearish markets, when we rally, we correct hard to the upside. Kind of speaking to your underlying, I don't really have a strong opinion on that. As the underlying value of the dollar, the Dixie rallying despite what you're saying is a inverse relationship to Bitcoin. Do I see this as a hidden increase in value? As a hidden increase in value in Bitcoin as the dollar is becoming more valuable relative? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm with you on that one. I'm not sure if I'm coming at it from from the same angle that you are. I think that you could infer that. I see where you're going with that. I think that this is a pretty cool sign to see Bitcoin hold its value. But let's see. If we stay here for, let's say, a week and consolidate at this level or even higher in the 6,000s, then clearly, right? But I would be hesitant to say that, I would be hesitant to make a call on that intraday, right? We've got a lot of time to see, if Bitcoin's price responds negatively, right? Because where is the liquidity in the market? The liquidity in the market's in the major indices, in the futures markets, in the CMEs, in the CFD market for the entire Eurozone and non-American speculators. So let's see what Bitcoin's price does, potentially. You ask very good, insightful questions, Zuhair. Sometimes I feel bad that I don't always have the best insightful aha answer, but you're the man, brother. I appreciate it. All right, with that being said, guys, it is 10:18. Yeah, so I do know that it is difficult for Europeans to watch the show, and that's what does make this time slot inconvenient. So again, we're putting out our breaking Bitcoin bits at noon now, which I hope is convenient for them to watch. And the other thing that I hope is pretty cool is that, our European audience is really loyal. I don't expect them to stay up and change their nightly schedule, but this is something great. You guys can wake up in the morning. Europeans can wake up right in the morning. Again, the show will be a few hours late. You won't be able to watch it live, but you can wake up to the morning update on the market, see what's going on, so we see what we expect moving forward. And, the Europeans will kind of have that first bead right in to be like, he was right. No, he was wrong. Right. People always fight over that. So, all right, guys, with that being said, we're going to have to head for the exit here. As I said, guys, there's only 4 days left to register. So I just remind you again, if you guys want to come trade with us, we are having a Bitcoin trading competition on ByBit's BTC USD perpetual swap contract. The link for registration is in the description down below. It's open to everybody. Doesn't cost you anything to register. You just need to have a minimum balance of 0.05 BTC. You guys can see the prize pool there. The prize pool does depend on how many individuals register for this, but we'll be talking about this for the next few days. So I'm looking forward to trading against everybody. Again, low capital. Let's just have some fun, guys. I don't want people taking excessive risk or putting lots of money on the exchange just to trade with us. But we'll have the leaderboard up. It'll be fun. A good opportunity. And we're going to be tuckered in. So we're going to be doing this for a month. So let's have a good, nice, long ByBit brawl here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank everybody for joining me for another episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Analysis. I'm Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. I really appreciate you guys coming out in the evening or in the morning or in the afternoon, wherever you're watching. If you guys have any questions, comments, sarcastic remarks, or death threats, please leave them in the comment section down below. Make sure to join us in the Discord and register for the competition. All the links to that are in the description down below. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, where we post exclusive content every day that you will not find over here on the tube. And subscribe to this channel, turn on all notifications, otherwise YouTube won't tell you when we do anything, and let us know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section. All right, I think that about wraps it up. I'm killing time at work, man. I'm doing my best. I'm absolutely doing my best. If you guys are passionate and serious about trading and investment, come join a community who is seriously committed to trading full time. Learn from our team of analysts, utilize our premium indicators, engage in our educational content, and talk with us in the members lounge. You can find all the information for that at premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. Again, link for that is in the description down below as well. We will be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. on the Pacific Coast for another episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Until then, I want everybody to trade safely, trade smartly. Don't trade to make money, trade to trade well, and trade with discipline, and money comes as a natural result. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.